Good evening, everyone, and sorry for the epic amount of unskippable ads. I don't know how that happened. Matter of fact, I barely know how YouTube works. So let's be honest. You're lucky. You're lucky. I'm lucky.
I can barely understand how you work, let alone anything else.
I so don't know how I work. Clearly, the guy wearing the Harlequin hat with the Mardi Gras beads doesn't know what's happening. I am here for the party.
I mean, are you talking about the Space Marine party?
I am talking about the Space Marine party. Dude, I've got, because I'm the cheapest, I found ways to get both of these things for no costies because Brad's poor. And I have both Rogue Trader and Space Marine 2 ready to go. And to be honest with you, I don't know how excited I am for Space Marine 2. I'm more excited for all of the animations. As soon as somebody puts together the full cinematic movie, basically, of it, that's when I'm in. Because, man, why? Also, I gotta get my chi together, Brian. I gotta get my chi together. Why are they not putting this shit out as 40K shorts, movies, whatever, man? These cinematics are bananas.
I agree. Like, my favorite one that I've seen so far, and I apologize if you haven't played the game and it's a spoiler for you. I don't care all that much. There's a spot where a Redemptor Dreadnought picks up one of those statues of the Emperor and throws it at a Helldrake and blows him up. It's fantastic.
Dude, it's just, I don't understand why these aren't coming out. I'd be watching the shit out of these as 40K movies. I mean, they're doing it right when they're doing the cinematics. The cinematics inside the game are fucking bananas good. Like I said, I haven't played through the game. I'm mostly watching different clips of cinematics. I'm super excited. Story wise, I did like Rogue Trader quite a bit. But I also like that part of the game, the non-marine part of the game. What are other people doing in the game? You know what I mean? Juiced up people, but regular bros, which is what it is. I mean, he's got a souped up group. So, yeah, exactly, Eric. What do you mean? You can always show us the quality of Warhammer Plus. Subscribe today. I am subscribed, and they don't do enough of this shit. I'm subscribed. I always want to push our hobby forward. So I never want to be the skimp guy that doesn't, subscribe to Warhammer Plus and things of that nature, because I want them to put out more stuff, because some of the stuff has been badass. Wildly biased, but the Warhammer Plus, when they put out the Hammer and Bolters and they put out the Eldar one, super cool. The Adback one was super cool. They've just had some really good stuff, but like, man, if they were putting this shit out, I just need more plus in my Warhammer Plus right now. Like, why are they not putting these cinematics just out on Warhammer Plus right now?
I mean, that's a question I can't answer. Most of the animation that I've seen has been really enjoyable, and most of the stories have been pretty good. I will see where it goes from there. I'm 100% gonna just keep subscribing. Number one, because I use the app on a very daily basis. But number two, I enjoy seeing the little stuff, and the hobby side of it is interesting to see what results they get from their products.
I'll give you that. They have some cool shit on that. The journey videos are actually pretty cool. I can't say that I don't like it. It's just I want more plus in my Warhammer Plus. Also, some of these cinematics in the fucking game are just crazy. Why are they not doing shorts of this all the time?
I mean, number one, because those probably don't make anywhere near the money that game's going to make.
Yeah, true story. But if they had,
I will say, as a retailer, it was really nice to see mom come in with her 13-year-old son, and her son going, "I really want a Redemptor Dreadnought. I don't know anything about the game, but I want to put a Dreadnought together and paint it to look like that Dreadnought." That today was like a moment of pride, going, "Hey, look, these video games are going to bring some people into our hobby. And if this 13-year-old kid drags one or two of his friends around, that means in 15 or 20 years where I'm old crotchety Brian, I can go, I remember when I taught that kid how to build a dreadnought. Yeah, Grandpa, go back in the corner. Okay.
Why is Horton muffled coming from inside his sock? Please, for the love of baby Jesus, don't have my sound be fucked up again.
I hope I'm doing all right. I know that they're.
It's whether or not I'm doing it right. To be honest with you.
Okay.
Let's find out. We'll change some stuff and see how it goes. Keep talking, Brian. Say some things.
Up in my game room, you would see the 8,000 piles of foam behind me if I didn't have the background on. I decided it was time to fix some arms and repair some stuff, so I'm in the midst of cutting out bits and cleaning lines to paint up arms for things that, like, I probably didn't need 12 Carnifexes with dual scything talons. I could probably convert a few of those over. So I've just been going through, getting bits out, getting things ready, priming and painting up some stuff, which has been kind of fun for me. When you have thousands and thousands of points of painted models, the ability to work on a few things that you hadn't worked on in a while is really a good time.
I like it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we have unlimited potential that we're not capitalizing on right now. And I don't understand why we're not, to be perfectly honest with you. I guess that's my jam right now, is why are we not?
You know, it would be a really cool thing if they had done it. I don't. If there's still capabilities of them doing it. Put out some DLC for that game. That if you just like take a picture of a receipt from a game store that you bought a goddamn model, get something free, a cool skin, an upgrade, something. That'd be awesome. Just saying. Just throwing it out there, GW. If you listen to this stream, that would be awesome to do.
On the game, the cinematics I'm talking about, Louise, are from the Space Marine 2 game. Are just like banana. I'll actually show one of them pretty soon here. They're just, it's just holy shit. They're good. Give me 2 seconds. Tell me what you think about the hobby stuff from Warhammer Plus really quick. I actually do want your opinion on this.
So the hobby stuff from Warhammer Plus is really nice because there's so much content out there on YouTube these days of people using other non-GW products, whether it be other brands of paints, to where Citadel kind of gets left like behind because they're not sponsoring people, they're not sponsoring content. So people forget that every hobby shop carries Citadel paints, and it's nice to have a spot to grab that from. And it's nice to see what you can do with that paint if you take your time and learn the skills.
Read on that. I just think if you're just coming right into the hobby, what would you think? Like, basically, what is your turnaround time for you to get someone up in painting?
So up in painting, you can actually do relatively quick. Because the nice part is contrast paints exist, as you know, which is something you can use rapidly. I can kind of show someone on a primed model how to do a quick contrast paint on a Space Marine, probably with 3 to 4 colors and 2 brushes, to where they can get a playable model. So it's really nice. I think the ability now to do stuff is a lot higher, and because there is so much content out there, and there's an immense amount of fantastic painters on the market. Please watch as many as you want. Like the ones you like, Patreon the ones you want to Patreon. But they're fantastic, and the ability to learn from compared to when I got in the hobby is immense. I've said this before, I'll continue to say it. Right now, if you want to learn how to do some amazing paint jobs and blendings and all the different techniques, there's a video for it. And if you hop on somebody's Patreon, there'll be step-by-step instructional guides explaining you how to do it, or videos step-by-step instructional on how to do it. And I have seen some of the guys who started in this hobby a little over a year ago, who are now showing me techniques, doing things that I find very inventive. So it's nice because GW has their Citadel Paint app, which has a lot of stuff in it. But to add on top of that, the Warhammer Plus stuff is absolutely fantastic because the videos show you the step-by-step how they get there, which is really nice.
I love everything that's in the chat, but it's badass on this. I like seeing really well done shit. I obviously do not do really well done shit, but I do like the shit that I've done. I do take pride in my crappy shit.
Mhm.
So
Look, I can be honest and say that like right now, I'm like fixing and repairing some stuff I picked up out of a lot. This is Harpy that, you know, I don't need to put together right now. It's not something that I am, going to put in a list tomorrow, but it'll be nice to have available for when it is. And so I'm just taking the time to prep it, get it, all the things filled on it, fix the guns, replace a few parts that needed to be replaced, and go from there. And you know what? I like my hobby. It's fun. I have to remember sometimes that I get frustrated with my hobby just like every other hobby. But I love this at the end of the day. I get a lot of enjoyment out of having a finished product.
in KR, you have a wildly different standard for shit that gets put in public. Mine is colors. Yes, got it. So yeah, I'm actually curious to see how everybody thinks about that. Like, what level are you okay with showing it at a tournament with? You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, obviously, KR's got a high level. Matt Aaron's insane about people seeing anything that's not done to a crazy standpoint. You know what I mean? I, for many of years, was like, I find stuff on the street and I use the mud off the parking lot as one of my colors. So obviously, there's different levels of what you're willing to bring.
Yeah. And I like my stuff to be painted to above tabletop standard, right? Like I know my weakest part of my models pretty much every time is my basing because I went with a very basic basing scheme for my Tyranids, and now I'm going back and adding to the 20 bajillion points of Tyranids I have. Whole lot of dead Blood Angels because I find it hilarious. Uh, and that's my next step is I'm spending more time getting my bases done. I'll be much happier when I have more dynamic bases.
Ooh, you know what I'm going to do at this point in time? I'm going to throw out a promo to Still Frosty because Still Frosty does some super cool bases. It's one of his specialities. So give him a hit up and he'll make your stuff pretty. He does do some really cool bases.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the thing that I really didn't give a shit about until I did more and more. Maybe tell you the truth, I'll give a shout out to Adepticon teams. You know, stuff, bases, going into stuff really does make your army look a whole hell of a lot different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
An ad break. I don't know what's up. I literally put down for the least amount of ads possible. I don't even know how to turn them off. It's just if you monetize the video, it auto puts in ads. And now it's just like, I heard you wanted some ads. Fucking firing them out of a t-shirt gun.
I was looking for.
I love it. Wait, paint score a solid 9? What? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And Eric, your stuff has gotten better as time has progressed. You're actually spending the time on all that gold trim, which is, for a World Eaters player, a long and arduous process. So I give you a lot of credit there, bud.
Jesus. Brian got herpes from eBay. I got mine from a massage parlor on the east side, which would, by the way, if you're talking Toledo, would be the bad side. It is not the good side. So yes.
I may or may not have bought a lot of Tyranids from somebody because he was unwilling to split the lot for like 5 second edition Hormagaunts. That was what I wanted out of the entire lot, but I just bought it all because I was like, I can use more stuff.
How many people you think have Necrons right now because of the Indominus boxes? Like, because I see more Necrons than I ever saw in the previous 20 years of 40K. Yeah, I mean,
I think when you can relatively get a good start from the starter boxes, and that was a good box set. It was a good value There's a lot
100%.
of playable stuff in there. I think you just start seeing that more. In all honesty, it's a hey, guess what? Yeah, it was good. It was well put together. I will bet you half the Necrons that get played these days are because of it.
I believe it. Like I said, I just saw very few Necron players for just forever, and then it seems in the last, since, 8th edition, basically, when we got the Indominus boxes, we just saw so many people playing Necrons. And obviously you're going to get some influx just because of, hey, we split a box, kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
They also are a good army that is enjoyable to play. In all honesty, they went from being not really enjoyable to play, and now the couple different builds they have, they're pretty fun to play.
I think Necrons are in a great place right now. They hit Canoptic a little too hard, in my opinion, but the Hypercrypt has so many versions of it you can play, from like all the big boys, Doomsday Arcs, Double Monolith you saw won a tournament, to tons of small squads, to 20-man Bricks of Warriors. Awakened Dynasty has seen a decent amount of play. I think it's finally a pretty fun army. The double Lich Guard was just mind-numbingly boring back, when you had double Lich Guard, a unit of warriors, and nobody died, but nobody moved. That was when the army was just lame. Epic lame
I
style.
think that's part of the reason why we're seeing such a surge in Tyranids. Number one, they got a massive new model range with this release where they updated a lot of stuff, which was really nice. The box set had a lot of good things in it. When they did the last FAQ, they updated some rules that were needing updating, and they made it a playable army where it's not just, hey, this is the one build. No, they've got like half a dozen that are very viable, which is really nice.
It's a big deal. I mean, I don't know. What's the easiest and what's the hardest army to paint? Or how about just faction in general? And you can't use just, hey, you're only tanks kind of thing, you know what I mean, or whatever. I don't.
To be honest with you, I hate painting tanks more than anything else, so that would probably put me more off painting it. The hardest army to paint is probably AdMech. If you want to paint it to a high standard, I'll be very specific.
I'm gonna doctor the question a little bit up, because I'm gonna go with what KR actually said, which is, what's the easiest army to paint tabletop, and what's the easiest army to paint the best, and then obviously the hardest both ways. Because some armies, if you want to get them very detailed, I think Necrons, for instance, is an army that's super easy.
To tabletop, Black Templar.
Black and white.
Because you can honestly you can just spray them with White Scar. You can very much contrast with the Black Templar contrast. Where you swap the Black Templar contrast, you can just use a little Corax white. Sorry about that. And cover that up relatively quickly. And then you can just use the Apothecary white to do the white parts. Red's real easy with Ball Red. And then a little Guilliman Flush on the flesh. You're done. They're tabletop presentable for the most part. A little bit of bolt gun, and it's over. The army that has the ability to be painted to the best is Death Guard, because the techniques and things you can do with that army are mind-blowing, and the conversion capabilities on Death Guard are out of this world. The army that's the hardest to paint is AdMech, hands down, because there's just so many literally fiddly things on them that it makes like, oh yeah, I think I got it done, and then you turn it a quarter inch and go, oh crap, I missed this light here. That would be for me. That would be my call.
Thank you. Oh my god. Hold on, everyone. I gotta figure out what the hell just happened. I just fucking lost all. We got an ad and I literally lost all sound coming out of my headphones. So give me moments. Give me moments. How about now? Say something, Brian. Taco Bell indeed, my friend. Taco Bell indeed. Let's see if I can make this work on other devices. Jesus. The the literal. That's the ad you got? Nice. I literally, the ad just killed me, apparently. How about now, everyone? Say some stuff, Brian. Stuff
Hello,
and things.
how's it going, everybody?
Jesus Christ.
Stuff and
It
things.
literally blew my, like, that ad just shut off my sound. I don't know what the hell happened. You know what we're going to do for a second? Because I have to get my chi together. We're going to watch Marnius Calgar do Marnius Calgary things. Because it's pretty goddamn cool. And if you don't think this is cool, well, just like Big Red, well, fuck you. But let's watch Mr. Calgar do shit. All right, so you got to start off with, is that a Lord of Change? I would be scared. Hey, is that a giant rift? You know who doesn't give a fuck? Marnius Calgar. That's a badass entrance, dude. He's like Sorcerer's Rift in reality, Lord of Change. Good to hear.
And let me just stand here.
Dude, he's just not fucking around.
Just one exalted sorcerer in.
Just fucking swatting, dude. It just, like I said, these cinematics are so badass. It just looks
Get out of my way.
He jumped into a rift.
Yeah.
It
Hey, it's Caligar, man. He's badass. All right, so we had a conversation at work this morning, one of the guys and I, and he was like, I think they finally did it. I think they made Ultramarines cool.
I mean,
And in my brain, I went, wait, they're never cool.
You can't go wrong with a level of gives no fucks like that. You know what I mean? Like, just, yeah, man, everybody else is losing their mind. Yeah, good to hear, dude. I'm about to beat the shit out of these dudes. Just like, also, he's YOLO soloing it. Like, hey, man, I was going to take some dudes with me, but that seemed dumb. Like, what the fuck? But again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to circle back a little bit on this. Why are they not putting this shit out on the channel? Like, literally, why?
And again, I think it's cost prohibitive to do it and not make $60 a user off it right then and there.
True, but like, ready? I'm saying this game comes out, give it a little bit, and they could have done this with the first one. Do an entire just collection of Space Marine 2 cinematics and put them on Warhammer Plus. You know what I mean? It would make people think about getting the game. It promotes.
You want to do it even more, you put it on your goddamn regular YouTube channel for free.
I mean, any of the things, I guess, but like just
snippets of it.
Why not? This shit's amazing artwork, dude. 100% KR. The Thousand Suns are rendered like this shit looks good. You know what I mean? Like the detail in the video is just so good.
Who paints at the store, who's really a relatively new hobbyist, probably 16 to 18 months into the hobby. He's been pausing the game and they have like a mode where you can zoom in and look at like the cinematics and stuff. And he was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like on that. Oh, I wanted to know what the color of the belts were. Oh, look, now I see the color of the belts. This is really cool. And he's using it, like screen capping it and going, that's what I want to do. I want to use this as like paint reference. And that's really cool. I found that to be a very interesting thing that somebody's doing.
I'll give you that. Kara's got to put that thing. It's probably licensing, yes, but like, I don't know. It feels like promotions on this. It's just, we have an unlimited universe, basically, of things you could do with it. The stories. We have so many different fleshed out factions. You could do faction specific stuff. I mean, obviously, the games and everything are all basically pushed from the Imperium standpoint, you know what I mean? Mostly Marine standpoint and stuff. But like the fact that they did Rogue Trader from the view of you're still a human, but like he has a full-on not human crew. You know what I mean? So like you just have so many stories you could tell. I mean, hell, Warhammer Plus, they put stories out from the elves' view and things of that nature. You just have like so many things you could do with this, and I feel like we're barely scratching the surface. And I feel like there's a ton of people that would be purchasing this shit if they're putting it out, and they have the ability to put out amazing cinematics. You know what I mean? You can't tell me they can't do this and just goddamn sell it. You are right, Anna. Like and subscribe to the channel if you could. Put out a comment. It helps a ton. I have no idea why it helps a ton, but it does help a ton. So it just gets me out there more. We'd love to have you hang out with us. You know, we're going to put in a mid-roll promo. Tell me about the art store, Brian.
So the art store, theartstorecny.com, your source for all Games Workshop and tabletop miniature gaming paraphernalia, along with art supplies, including a lot of the stuff that you should be using on your miniatures, such as high flow paints for painting through an airbrush. So check it out today.
Nice. Also, Coach, that haunts my dreams now, that combination. But the fucking, I broke my brain. I don't know.
That doesn't take much to break your brain, Brad.
I mean, that's true. My brain's broken already. I did have the sad note. I had to call John back yesterday, and I'm like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He called me. He's like, "Yeah, we talked about some stuff." And I go, "Yeah, refresh me. I wasn't actually there for that." It's like, "All right, cool. Let's have the same conversation again."
Monday, while I was at work, my brain went into like off mode. I re-merchandised a quarter of the Warhammer section, did a bunch of stuff, and somebody asked me a question and went, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "Not good." They were like, "Why?" I was like, "What did I just do?" And they were like, "You were re-merchandising." I was like, "Oh yeah, hey, that looks good. Who did that?"
There's a reason they don't want me to drive. You can't be like it.
Probably took way many of my pain pills at that point, I think was what it was.
Yeah. I just have a bad brain. Can't break a brain that's already broken. How many pay? Oh, you know what? I actually do want to hear this. KR's question here. It's P3 coming out on Kickstarter. I liked a few of their colors. Question for Brian. How many paint ranges? Basically, many paint ranges now. Is there too many paint ranges now to survive?
So this is one of those things where I can go, to be honest with you, there probably is too many paint ranges. The thing is, people find ones they like and become very, very loyal to them. Like for myself, on the wall to the other side of me, I've got Monument Hobbies, Scale 75, GW, Two Thin Coats, Vallejo, Holbein, Golden, I'm not even scratching the surface, Green Stuff World, War Paints, and a bunch of other ones. I use all of them. Are there some colors I really like from some other than others? Is there a product I like from one that I don't like in another? Absolutely. But I'm finding myself, when I'm starting new projects, I really am enjoying Two Thin Coats because it's a nice quality paint. It's priced affordably and it's really good. I use all different stuff. And I'm probably an exception to the rule, but I'm starting to notice that a lot of people are branching out and trying other things. Like, I use a lot of heavy body acrylics now, which are artist grade paints. That basically I have to really thin down, I have to do a lot with, but I get so much more paint out of it for my dollars that I'm putting into it that it's a huge thing. I think if you're a low quality paint company, and I'll use Minotaur from Badger as one of them. That was one of the early miniature airbrush paints. It's not the greatest quality. It leaves things a little glossy. It's a weird paint color. Their colors aren't consistent. Yeah, that'll go away. Color companies that are hard to get things from, like Green Stuff World, if they don't have better US distribution, they'll probably lose their market share. P3 was a nice alternative for people to use because it was picked up relatively easy because ACD and Alliance and other hobby distributors carried them that are in every game store. So it was really nice. But now that Pro Acryl, which is Monument Hobbies, is starting to become more available. They're a really good brand and they have nice product, reasonable color range, and they keep adding new little products here and there. You'll probably see it get down to where stores are making a choice based upon what their customers are asking for. Like at the art store, I don't carry Vallejo in the store because my local competitors carry the full line, both carry the full line of Vallejo. So there's not a need for it. None of them carry two thin coats. I carry two thin coats. None of them carry Monument, so I'm bringing Monument in next. I really want to bring in AK Interactive because I like their new series paints, their new Series 3 paints. But tough to find a U.S. distributor. You have to order a lot of it from Spain, so it might be a little harder to stock. So it's one of those things of it's a balancing act. I think it's going to depend on the area you're in, what paints you find, but you're always going to find GW paints. You're always going to find Army Paint or Fanatic paints in every hobby store, which is great to have some consistency. But I have a feeling that Monument hobbies will be like, and two thin coats will probably be those other two paint ranges you'll find in every hobby store soon.
When you're painting one model, do you switch between companies or do you use only
Absolutely.
one type of points per? You do it? Okay.
So I do, like my Tyranids, because I've been painting them for years, 75 to 85% of the paints on that now are just GW paints because that's what I started with. But like the white that I use on that, I use from scale 75. One of the colors that I used to mix is from Cote d'Arms, which is the company that used to make GW paints eons ago, because that paint matches what I used years ago from GW. And then there's spots here and there that I like. Certain greens that I use from Pro-Acryl. So it's one of those weird things. Yeah, and Corey, Turbo Dork, absolutely fantastic. They have some pretty nifty color shifting paints and stuff like that are really cool. There's just a lot of different stuff out there. There's so many things. I don't think I have any models that are completely 100% painted with one paint company.
I just know
Maybe.
as far as like how they blend or whatever, you know what I mean? For me, I grab the contrast paints. Things tells me what order to put them on. That's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, so they're all acrylic water-based paints. So that's a big thing. Like one of the things that's, if you watch a lot of the painters on YouTube, a lot of them now are using acrylic inks and oil paints. Oil paints are very traditionally using mineral spirits, which are toxic, and oil paints, which are also toxic, and getting amazing results out of them. But those require certain brushes, certain skill sets, certain cleanliness levels,
certain ventilation so you don't die.
Ventilation and things like that. But there's also alternatives to those oil paints. Like you can get saffron oil based oil paints, and then you can get citrus based mineral spirits, so stuff that's not toxic, and use those. And like you see the evolution of the hobby where it's like things are getting more like there's a lot of art products that are coming into miniature painting.
Yeah.
Don't use oil paints and clean your brush in your mouth. That tastes really bad, I can tell you from experience.
Don't be weak. Eat the paint. You know what? Watching all you guys paint, I don't know how you would use one of those paints and not do it, because every single painter I know eats a lot of goddamn paint. So I don't know how you guys would use a toxic
Typically,
paint.
you're rinsing your brush, you're cleaning your brush, and you're just using the enzymes that are in your saliva to bring the tip on a natural bristle brush back to tip.
You guys are...
I'm not saying that I haven't stuck an entire paintbrush full of like a wash into my mouth and gone, grapey.
I'm just waiting for someone to
just trust
suck
me,
down the paint cup water as opposed to their actual water. So
I haven't done that yet. I have washed my paintbrush in my coffee cup and then went, that's just coffee, and drink my coffee. But I haven't sipped the paint water yet. Thank God.
Have done. Don't recommend.
100% don't recommend it.
Oof, that just sounds like bananas gross.
And considering like one of the paints I've been using lately for painting is cadmium red. Cadmium is not good to drink. Just saying.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to point back out, this Lord of Change is bad as fuck in this game. Oh, man.
Absolutely. I mean, the wings are glorious.
That's what we're really looking at. It's just it, you know what I mean? It's just really cool looking. There's just a ton of detail on these things. And that's what I was really impressed at is when you slow, you know, you come in and you're looking at these and you're taking screen by screens and shit like that. There's just a shit ton of details, man.
I mean, and that's so for those of you who don't know, at one point in time, I was a quality tester for video games, and my specialty was like looking in backgrounds and finding errors. Like, I'm just looking at the background on this going, man, that is beautiful work. That takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of conscious decisions made to go, yeah, we've colorized this, we've gray shaded some stuff, but it blends seamlessly. It's absolutely fantastic.
Bloodthirster out there. All gains, baby. Jacked. Bloodthirster's on so many warp PEDs, you don't even know. Getting pumped. Dude. I don't know. I just want these to be movies, I guess. You know what I mean? I said the same thing with the Old Republic in Star Wars. You know, if they would have just kept putting out those as movies as opposed to the movies they did put out, holy shit, things would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you got to Disneyfy things, but I will give credit if the Henry Cavill stuff comes out, and because he is such a dedicated fan, it has half the effort that this has into it. It'll probably be great.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, the 40K universe is just so damn big, you know what I mean? And again, multiple races that you could tell stories from, you know what I mean, that are really interesting.
You could do the 40K universe. You could easily, without a doubt, just start with Heresy.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think Heresy is where they want to go. I think 40K is just...
I think you really do Rogue Trader, though. I mean, that goes away from a little bit, too, but, like, Rogue Trader gives you the most opportunities because you could just be Firefly 40K, you know? Because Rogue Trader just goes everywhere.
That'd be a great TV show.
Yes.
But if you're talking a movie...
Oh, yeah. Big budget.
100% would want to see him do, like, for a movie, just pick one of the books. Like, you could take Ragnar's 3 books, right? Make 3 movies. Have a nice little trilogy. It'd be awesome. Space Wolves would become the most popular faction in 40K, probably overnight.
By a landslide. They put out a faction-specific show. When Cavill does a faction-specific 40K show, it will instantly be wildly the most popular faction. What do you mean?
Tell you when they highlighted Raven Guard in 2 episodes of South Park. We sold more Raven Guard upgrade kits in the 2 months after that than we sold the entire time before that.
I can imagine. And yes, KR, he does look like Titus. But John, The Last Church might be the best thing on YouTube for 40K. That was just amazingly done. And holy shit. If you haven't watched The Last Church, search it after we're done. Wait until you're done with me. But then after you're done, go search The Last Church. And it's fantastic. It's just the Emperor just chilling. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, like, I got to give you guys credit. Lorecast is probably one of the hottest things on podcasts right now, especially for gaming. Yeah. They've got over 1 million downloads. For those of you who didn't know, they are banging out some amazing content over there at Lorecats. Yeah, that's why I said Lorecats just for
40K Lorecats.
But
he gets so pissed off at that, by the way.
The amount of lore that is out there, and you guys have like just started scratching the surface on it, in all honesty.
Oh, 100%.
There is
I'm putting the link to our Discord out there right now, as a matter of fact.
It's great. I mean, there's amazing content out there. And the fact that, like, we'll use someone that was a big pillar early on in the community of wargaming for streaming, was Mini Wargaming. Mini Wargaming has gone away from doing, like, competitive games. They're only doing narrative stuff now.
Really?
They've focused, they're focusing on doing narrative play, campaign stuff, because there's not a lot of that stuff really on the market, and it's nice to see, like, a company that was their most popular videos, at least that I ever watched, and their most downloaded ones were always their campaign stuff. So seeing that become their focus is great because you don't need to have 4 cameras and different angles of stuff. For competitive, you're telling a story, or when you're playing the game, you can hard cam in on some dice rolls and on one scene because you can talk about what it means to the game.
Well,
and do all
it's
stuff
the
like
scene,
that.
it's the narrative itself. Again,
Yeah.
you're talking about what's happening. So you basically have a story that you can talk about. It just doesn't have to be exactly where models are. It's explaining, what is the setup, what is the scenario, and I love that. I'm actually thinking about going to some narrative stuff. To be honest with you, I should, since I am pushing pretty hard. Again, I am excited. We did hit 1 million on Spotify. I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, come on. I mean, number one, you guys should be extremely proud about that. Actually, I'm very happy for you guys. Huge fan, not just because we're friends, but because actually it's good content. And I recommend, if you haven't taken the time to check it out, by all means, please go check it out.
We did fix the audio from the early cast too.
Nice. That's one of the things that I can always say is that, like, when you find something passionate and good, like you were talking about the YouTube thing earlier, support it, watch it, donate a dollar to the guy's Patreon, even if you're not going to do a monthly subscription or whatever, because all you're doing is allowing them to make some more content and get out there, which is absolutely fantastic.
What am I plugging? I am plugging my own. I'm shamelessly plugging my own Lorecast, the 40K Lorecast, or as it's called, 40K Lorecats, which I am getting a shirt made. I will be wearing a hoodie of it all winter with 40K.
Oh, and let
Lorecats.
alone I've got some artwork coming for you. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh,
You've only seen one piece of what I got in the works.
I'm so pumped for it. He's so not pumped for it. I did get my dice and everything done too. I've now got my Lorecast dice done. We're killing it right now. Leisure. We're top 100 and like all kinds of in all the things. So I'm psyched.
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
will say,
well.
like, watching tournament and battle reports from competitive play, I would much rather have someone walk through an army, explain why they play it the way they do, and like give, hey, this is what I do positioning wise kind of things, versus watching a game. Unless you've got 2 really talented players on the screen, I want to see interactions and talks about choices and why you've done what you've done. There was a channel, I haven't seen anything from them lately, but they actually would tape a game, and then instead of just showing you the game, they would go through and over talk over the top of the game, going, well, this was my plan here, and this is what happened, and this is what did work, this is what didn't work. And I actually found that a lot more beneficial.
Yeah, but I'm not sorry. I was just about to respond to that, then chat said things. So stuff and things. I do think I like it a lot when anytime you're doing content of games, I don't want to see I agree on that. I don't want to see the game. I do like people talking about why they're doing things in the game. And I think that's more important. I actually practice like that. I actually get way more, because I'm a 1,000-year-old man and I coach all day, is I like having 2 people play, and then we'll talk about each and every move from each and every turn. You know what I mean? That's how I practice. I don't want to just be in the game. I really want to break down what could happen. What are you thinking about doing? You know what I mean? Like, and let's stop the game. I don't want to have, this is just me. You can play the game to have fun. That's fine. You're playing game is playing game. But if you're trying to get better and break down a game, you got to do it piece by piece. You know what I mean? Like move by move, because that's where you figure out. Nobody's got enough time to play 27 factions with multiple detachments per faction and figure out the best place for everything. You got to start breaking that shit down and figuring out what could happen, what you could do, and then seeing if that works from there. Okay, let's see this. What about this?
Yeah, one of my favorite things to always ask, like, I play games, random pickup games with folks. Hey, why are you moving there? What are you thinking? And I want to hear their response, and I go, okay, but do you realize that I could do X, Y, and Z, and then all of your movement would be, for naught? because I have reactive move strat or this, that, the other thing. So do you think that's your wisest decision? And if they go, nope, that's what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, well, then this is the response. But there's a lot of people who go, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, I just want to make sure you know everything my army does so you can make the best informed decision. And then sometimes at the end of the turn, I've gone to an opponent and go, hey, let's roll that back and you not make that terrible decision to split fire with that unit and not kill that one unit.
Yeah, and it's just the small things all the time. It's just, I really like, one of the biggest things is I think people don't get enough feedback from their opponent like that, but also just like, hey, what's the worst thing I could do for you right now? You know what I mean? What would really wreck your game plan? And that's a really big deal on that, is just because a lot of times you can't play every faction. Ask your opponent what is basically would be the most difficult. What would put you in a bad position? What would disrupt what you're trying to do?
I can put it honestly. In my local meta, we have 0 AdMech players. Like, we have people who buy AdMech, who put AdMech together, but don't play it on a competitive level. If you played AdMech against me, I would ask you to see every strat, everything. I'd be pulling it up on my phone going, what's that do? Oh, okay.
AdMech's been like that forever, too.
I don't know the army well enough to make informed decisions. And it's, I've never considered it rude when somebody goes, what's that strat do? And I just go, oh, here's the strat. Take a look. If you have any questions on it, let me know.
You should also do, when you read a strat or a rule, read the whole rule.
Yes. From every sentence. And remember, there is punctuation.
KR, I agree with you. Hobby Goblins, great looking armies. Good painters. Bunch of good hobbyists, man.
Yeah, bunch of good hobbyists. For the most part, pretty good dudes. So it's nice to see them out and about, and their YouTube channel I've watched a few videos on. It's nice. For a newer channel, they're doing a nice job.
Get you good painters on that. It's crazy. Now, I touched on this like a couple weeks ago. We talked about a lot of painting stuff. And I still have been thinking about this because everybody was talking about it. Corey had said something in. Is it more mainstream as far as tutorials and people helping, or is it just that the technology, the painting, the things that you have access to are just that much better? We touched on this, but we never really got the answer to it, to be honest with you.
It's really all of the above. Now, and again, I know I've said this before, at least I think I have. When I got into painting, my first model that I painted for Games Workshop, I used testers, enamel paints, penny brushes, basically. And the model looked terrible, but I didn't know any better. And now if I want to learn how to paint, I can open up I can go to GW's thing and go, oh, I can watch a YouTube tutorial on how to paint an ultramarine. And it's 1,000 times more informative than was ever available on a White Dwarf or anything else, because you get to see the process. And the fact that not only do we have better paints, better tutorials, the fact that people talk about airbrushing, panel lining, and all these other techniques that are out there, and they're sharing their knowledge, has made it so for a new hobbyist, you can learn. And that's huge. And the quality of the products have gone up. The quality and the ability to get the information has gone up, and it's just made the hobby so much better. And I look at people who like, oh yeah, I've been painting for 6 months, and I look at some of their stuff and go, man, that's absolutely phenomenal. 6 months into painting, my stuff looks like bird poop. But admittedly, I was not a good painter. I wasn't like I had an art background. I'm a ham-fisted person. But I learned, and over time found my techniques, the things that work for me, the things that don't work for me. And I learn new techniques all the time. Like something that is probably going to be an up and coming thing is you'll see people using pastels to paint models. Pastels is a powdered pigment. And there's different
1970s paintings now.
No, it's actually more modern because they're called pan pastels. They're not sticks anymore. They're not ultra soft. They're kind of like painting with a sponge Q-tip in some ways. And there's a lot of different unique blending things you can do and some different techniques you can get out of it. And it's interesting. It's a different style because you're not going to get like, you can't with pastels get like that fresh hot off the presses ultramarines. This is going to be blended, shaded, using light sourcing and all kinds of stuff, but it gives a different technique and a different approach to models. I've tried it out. I've tried a couple different models with it. I don't quite have the jive for it. It's not my stylized thing that I like, but it's really cool. But like one of the things that I found that I like a lot is painting with inks, which are like just basically super thinned down acrylics that have, basically like an ink pen flow consistency to it. There's a lot of neat things you can do with an airbrush through that. There's a lot of pre-shading, pre-layering and stuff you can do to get different things on your models, and it's just fun and something different.
No, with that. I appreciate the hobby quite a bit. I just have always been not in it. I mean, not in it. I guess I was with it, but I didn't start till obviously this year. Yeah, I mean, with actually doing stuff.
Brad, in all honesty, with an airbrush and teaching you some simple techniques with it, which even with your hand-eye coordination and everything else, you could do. I'm firmly convinced you could do it. Because I've seen stuff you've done with just your hands in general. You'll be fine. You could learn some really quick techniques and then take that contrast painting like 2 steps further.
I dig it though.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, my big thing is I don't, in my journey, what I don't want to do, I like the fact that I jingle. I don't want to make it so that I have deadlines for anything. I just like to paint right now.
Absolutely.
And obviously that's not as a lot of people, I want to finish this army by X amount. I don't want to finish shit. I just want to paint.
Yeah. I mean, people, I don't know if I can turn off my background. Hold on one second. But like, how the heck do we do this here? Yeah, I can't remember. But like behind me, there's thousands of models, obscene amount. But then I've also got like, I just grab a tray of, this is stuff that I just put together. This is all GSC vehicles, right? And I know that this is on my docket for after I finish this project. This is my next step because I would like to play my GSE, even though not ultra competitive. It's something that I want to do for a narrative. I want to do, a narrative where it starts with a GSE uprising versus, guard, and then some space marines drop in. And then, some sisters pop in, some Inquisition, and then, hey, look, the High Fleet shows up. So that's what I want to do it for. Is it a rush? No, it's something I want to do. And, I'm in the midst of setting up the game room to stream things. I've gotten a new computer. I've gotten 3 4K cameras to just do some recording with. So it's going to be fun. And my deadline is when I get to it.
I like that deadline. I like that deadline quite a bit, by the way. Yeah. But I think it's important though, like to don't make your hobby work. You know what I mean? Make it, you don't want to feel like you have to do something. I want to feel like I want to do something. I want to chill. I want to do things.
It's like a lot of people, I hear this all the time. Oh, if it's not the night before a tournament, you're not painting models, you're not doing it right. I actually kind of have like heart palpitations if I have to finish a model the day before a tournament. Because it puts me underneath so much stress because then it never turns out the way I want it. And I hate going back and refinishing a model. It drives me nuts of, oh yeah, I missed that on that one. I'll get to it.
It is
80% of the time you don't. And then the next game you pull it out for, you're like, God damn it, I was going to finish that.
It is tradition though, that somebody's painting something every time. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
It has to be somebody doing some dumb shit. And or people like me that forget something or just assumed.
I can put paints in Brad's hand and an airbrush in Brad's hand that he absolutely couldn't clog easily.
Oh, challenge accepted, Fred. Challenge accepted. How many more? That's what I'm saying. I can't put a lock on it. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
as I see everybody just when they have to paint stuff, that seems awful. I want to do it.
I mean, I've got a tournament. Well, actually, I've got tournament next weekend and the weekend after that. And somebody was like, "Oh, what are you going to play?" And I'm like, "I'd really like to play this, but I'd have to paint up one more of whatever it was." And I was like, "So I'm going to play this." And they were like, "Why don't you paint up the one model?" I'm like, "I don't want to feel rushed." And they were like, "But it's 2 weeks away." And I'm like, "I don't want to feel rushed. I'll get it done."
Again,
Yeah.
it's our
But
hobby. It's a toy soldier game, so
Yeah,
enjoy yourself.
the tournament next weekend, I 100% am going to an event, and I am not taking it seriously. My army will legitimately have the Hierophant Biotitan, 3 Norn emissaries in it, and then whatever fills in the rest of the points, because I want to put it on the table.
Yeah.
I know it's not gonna win a bunch of games, but it'll be really fun for me to go, yeah, big guys. Don't really care.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
And who gives a shit? What else? You know what I mean? To be honest with you, it's a big deal on that. So I don't know. Hit me with anything you want to prep. Prep. I want you to prep. Let's get some stuff ready so we can make some food tonight. You're working the line tonight, Brian. I forgot to mention that you have to get some cook work in there.
All right. Well,
tell me things
if I'm going to do some prep cooking, well, are we? What kind of restaurant are we?
You know what? We're just making sandwiches. We're a sandwich shop.
As long as the bread's ready to go, I can slice any meat.
You know that love and life. promo me something, and then we're gonna do a Queen's Wave, and we're gonna drift into the night.
So DuBoisGT.com, AOS, 40K, Blood Bowl, The Old World. Sign up today. Have a good time. It's a drinking party where we happen to play Warhammer.
This makes me happy. It brings joy to my heart. And with that, as always, Queen's Wave is out of here, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Appreciate it.